This podcast is powered by Pivotal Moments Media. Check out our mental wellness bundle on sale now.
Hello, this is Sandy Lutton, the director of the Her Journey channel. I'm so excited to be here today with Beth Shaha, who is the certified master life coach with the Grounded Canary. And the groundedcanary.com is Beth's website where you can find her. And we're going to do something a little fun today that we haven't done before. Beth, as many of you know, is my life coach and has instructed me on a lot of great things. And she always introduces me to some really interesting tools. And Beth, today, there's one tool in particular that has had really significant impact on me. And you said to me one day, "Hey, Sandy, are you ready to do some dreaming and scheming?" And I said, "Sounds interesting. What is it exactly?" And you walked me through an exercise to describe my ideal day. And I have to admit, as we were going through it, I was like, what is this exactly?
What's the point?
I didn't really see my ideal day as anything that I could truly replicate on a regular basis. However, having gone through the entire exercise, it was so enlightening and actually something I absolutely 100% do put into practice as much as I possibly can. So Beth, let's start with why you thought this would be a good exercise for me.
Okay, so this was kind of fun. So how this worked was, Sandy, we've been working together for a little while, and we had some stuff that we needed to move through. You came to me because you felt like there was some things that were kind of holding you back, that you were a little stuck in the mud about, and we needed to say, how can we move forward and how can we figure out what's next? And so we took some time to do that, but I started to sense from you this beautiful openness and freedom and space, that you were feeling free, you were feeling ready. And so you were no longer what I call to be in square one. You've moved on to square two, which is this dreaming and scheming. And there are no rules, and that's okay. And that's the mantra of that square, because you're simply saying, you know what, I want to see what's out there for me. I no longer am going backwards. I at least know that. So I'm going to go forward. And how do I open that up? So this is where we get creative. This is where sometimes vision boards can come into play. And something that I love to do, which I did with you, was talk about your ideal day. Mm-hmm. And so the ideal day is something that we do to just see what's possible. And it allows you to explore. So this is how it works. So we start with an ordinary day. You wake up in the morning, everything from, what do your sheets feel like? What are your five senses feeling, right? So you're feeling your sheets, you're looking at maybe it's linens on the window, you're describing a scent, whether it's fresh smelled coffee or lilacs in bloom, but you're just simply talking about what does it feel like before you've even gotten out of bed. Mm-hmm. And so we're slow with it, we're deliberate with it. If you go a little too fast, I might pause you and go back and ask you specifically about things. But the point is for you to really sink into what it looks like. And whether we're talking about this extraordinary day where you're at a cafe in Paris and you're, doing beautiful things there, or you're talking about the simplicity of your own home, either way, this tool works. Right. The more grand you get, the more creative you get, the more you have the ability to see things and speak freely. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of, as you know, when you travel, because you love to travel, when you travel, it gives you the freedom to see and it gives you perspective. So when we travel in our mind, talking about the ideal day, we also give ourselves freedom and perspective, and we get this creativity. So as we go on about your day, and I would encourage anyone that's listening to just go ahead and write it. Take 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour, whatever it takes to just write from start to finish what is included in your day. Now, me as your coach, what I do is look for the pauses, the moments where I feel you I can hear you saying, where are the connection points? Is it time spent with others? Is it time spent alone? Is it time to reset? Is it creating connections? Is it being stimulated in a way that's out of the ordinary of your day? These are some of the themes that I saw. Mm-hmm. And as you're talking, I can circle those. Or if you're doing it on your own, go back and highlight or circle and see the themes. Because the beauty is once we identify the themes, those are feeling states.
Right.
And those feeling states are what they allow is it allows you to create what your life is like. So I like to think that when you think of feeling states, circumstances don't create your feeling states, but feeling states can create our circumstances.
Right.
So when we look at the ideal day, we say, what feeling state are you hoping to achieve? How can we glean some really great information from that and then look at it in our ordinary day, implement it in our ordinary day, and make that almost like I already have it, or,
Right.
oh, I could make this small tweak and have it, because it's the feeling state we're looking for.
Right. So interestingly enough, you and I did this together.
Uh-huh.
And what really spoke to me as we went through this, first of all, it felt a little difficult. I really had to dig deep and think, because this is not something I had really ever given much thought to at all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also triggered some thoughts of maybe I need to buy some new sheets, or, like silly things like that.
Right.
But what really opened my eyes, and I recommend this to anyone, if you could do it with someone else, this is where it really helped me to connect all the dots, is when you read it back to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you said, okay, Sandy, I'm going to read this back to you. And I want you to write down some of the common themes you're picking up on, or the
What do you notice? Right.
what do you notice? And I started to do that. And one of the things that I noticed was that I really wanted to experience gratitude throughout my day, and really
Right.
start my day with gratitude and be able to end my day with gratitude. And I found that that was a pretty easy thing for me to implement into every single day of my life.
Yeah.
Some easier than others. When your alarm's going off at 4 a.m., it might be a little more difficult to find gratitude than when you wake up at 8 o'clock, and you ease into your day, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's always going to be easy, but it really helped me to recognize that that's really important for me. And that helped me set the stage for my day and the feelings that I wanted to achieve throughout that day. So
Yeah.
having someone listen to you, like, or listen to someone reading it back to you, kind of helps you make that connection. But then also, it also helped me to see that I could really start to write down as you're talking and really think,
Right.
these are the things I want. But also, it helped me to recognize some things that I had missed that were
Uh-huh.
important to me that weren't there. So
Right.
one thing that was important is we discovered that for me, the balance of connecting with people and then having alone time was really important. But I needed both of those in my day, but I needed a balance of both. The other thing was I also wanted time to be able to be creative and collaborate with other team members. And so
Right.
that gave me the opportunity to say, well, I can be intentional about that and actually schedule that time in my day. And
Correct.
again, it was one of those things you can pretty much do any given day. So it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be you're sitting on a balcony in Paris sipping your coffee and you can just go throughout your day in Paris. You could do it right here at home. And so that was really enlightening for me. And the other one was I noticed, I was like, oh, I didn't mention anything about like laughing and connecting and like kind of sharing that energy. So I was like, after the fact, I was able to kind of go back in and say, who are those people in my life that really make me laugh and who I enjoy spending time with, and making sure that I am, again, finding times and being intentional about making those times happen. So that's where I do recommend you do it with someone. You could do it yourself,
Right. Right.
for sure. But it just really helped me personally to hear you read it back and go, oh, and then I could kind of sit back and think, oh, well, what did I mean by that when I said that? What was I really looking for? What was that feeling state that I was imagining at that moment? And where did I want to be?
Right. 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 And, I talk a lot about paying attention to your body. When you're talking about your ideal day, you will notice how your body feels. And those are also indicators. When you talked about something such as gratitude, oftentimes you were feeling grateful because you were describing things you're grateful for in your life. So all of a sudden you have this overwhelming feeling state of gratitude. So boom, I know I want that to be a part of my day. I'm either going to create it, or I'm going to make sure that I find a way to remember that throughout my day, whatever that is. So tapping into your body while you're doing this is really important. And the other thing that I would mention is, I studied under Martha Beck, and she's a mentor of mine that talks about the stargazer. And she talks about using your imagination as a telescope. So I love this metaphor because it's as if you're not able to really get, the end result of your destiny by wandering around blindly. But if you use your imagination, she talks about it almost as like, the more that you use this, you'll notice something, you'll start feeling yourself almost aging backwards, she calls it. And she says, because when there's darkness, you go to the observatory, you open that telescope, you look for the stars, and there's your answers. So when you have darkness, use your imagination, let it be your observatory, see what's even out there. Create wildly improbable goals with these feeling states, things that are just beyond what you think you can accomplish. You're going to start to notice, like a missile, you've imagined it. Now you're going to roll, and you're going to rock and roll through it. And when we open ourselves up to that possibility, as I said, there are no rules. You just open yourself up. And, you'll notice if there are things that pop up, like a thought that says, yeah, but I can't sit and eat crumpets in, a Parisian cafe every moment. No, maybe not. But what is it about that? How do I create that feeling state? What is it about that moment that you also can implement in your life? Or maybe there's a limiting belief that's stopping you, I can't have this and that. Okay, but why not? Let's look at that. Let's jostle that around. Let's dissolve that thought. What's in the way? So we look at barriers, when we look at the ideal day. We also, it's also important to keep dreaming. You have this ideal day. Now, what does it look like? How do I implement it? How do I put it on a vision board? How do I tell other people, this is important to me? This is how I want to live my life. This is my purpose, right? So we look for ways that people can keep dreaming. And then the other is, how do we make it a reality? Which you talked about some of those things, but what are those little turtle steps that we can experiment with, we can try, we can implement in our day? Because as we get a teeny little turtle step, which, by the way, remember, is something that we can do that is so easy, we'll laugh at ourselves if we don't do it, right? But how do we start implementing some of those things that get us right to what we consider our ideal day? And it happens.
Yeah, it totally does. And you know what I found, of all the work and the exercises, this one was much easier than I thought it would be to implement. It's one thing to go through the exercise, but I found myself just days later, not even intentionally thinking about my ideal day, but then something would trigger a thought and go, oh, that's what we were talking about. This is it. Yes. And, you just make a mental note and you're like, more of this or less of this. And it's felt really easy, but it's also felt really good. Like you're doing something good for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not like I had to take extra time out of my day to do it. I didn't have to carve out, meditation time, which, is my favorite thing, but I'm getting better at that. But it's something that just, as I've gone along through my day, it just bing pops into my head and I'm like, oh, right, this is it. Oh yeah, let me incorporate that. And then you feel good. You're like, oh yeah, this does work.
Right.
And it's just been one of those tools that you gave me that has felt fun, rewarding, and easy.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want a tool like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if people are interested, sometimes people will come and they want to really work on an entire issue or something that's deeply settled that they want to uncover and figure out. So we'll do 4 sessions, we'll do 6 sessions, sometimes we'll do 12, it depends. But if somebody's interested that they just want to do the ideal day, I can do that as well. So if somebody just wants to contact me and I can lead them through it, if they would rather have somebody do that, I'm more than happy to do that too, because it is one of those tools you can pluck off the shelf and use as a quick, it's like a little shot of coffee, right? Or it's a shot of reality to say, we're not staying here. Where do you want to go? Let's go.
Right. Now, I highly recommend that. Like I said, you could do this on your own. I think I got more out of it doing it, having you walk me through it, but also I picked up on cues that I may not have picked up on by having you read it back to me. And that is so powerful. And I've actually shared this with a lot of my friends and they've all been like, I want to try that. I need to try that. Yeah. And so thank you for offering to help people. And again, if anyone is interested in finding you and taking you up on this offer, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is The Grounded Canary, and you can find me there. You can find me on social media, Beth Shaha, Grounded Canary. And you'll learn a little bit more about why I am the Grounded Canary, because I love helping people to find this release, seeing toxins and poisons in the air and helping them to be able to sing freely and burst out of their cage. It's
I
a
love
great
it.
joy of mine.
And certainly it has been one of the most worthwhile investments I've ever made in myself. And it's funny, I was talking to someone this morning and I said, it's funny how we will invest in clothes and
Mhm.
shoes and purses and nice, fresh, clean, beautiful sheets. But yet when we talk about like our mental health and investing in that, everyone's like, oh, that's too expensive, or, oh, I don't have time for that right now. It is the absolute best investment you could ever make.
Mm,
And I think people are starting to figure that out because we need it now more than ever. And we've had some
right.
really trying times, but I say this tool is so simple, so easy. There's no reason not to do it. And it's
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
It's fun.
And I found that more and more people have said to me, I just don't want to make the commitment because I don't feel I feel like I should be stronger. I should be able to do this on my own. And so there's so much shame, and that's a barrier in itself for people even wanting to get help. And so to that, I would say, no, it's just another priority out there that sometimes it helps to have someone come alongside. It's not about shame. It's actually more admirable that you're saying, I'm going to need some help here, because once I get that help, I'm going to be able to projectile missile into where I want to go. And so just that little pause and willingness to invest in yourself is really, truly a gift to you and to those in your immediate community. So, I'm seeing that more and more. So I wanted to just share that too.
Thank you. And I couldn't agree more. I really feel like if there's any message I could send the world, it's do this for yourself and everyone around you. It will make you a better person, and you will show up for yourself first and foremost, show up for your family, show up for your community, your work, your people. Like the impact it has on the people around you is greater than you will ever know. And it's all about just investing here with yourself. So it's so worthwhile. We'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about coming home to yourself. The more you
Yeah.
come home to yourself, the more that you live in clarity and truth and freedom. And then you're able to encourage that in other people, because you can't see it any other way. You
Right.
know what it's like for you, and you want that for other people. Then we start being more loving, more relational, more compassionate, more understanding, because we know what it takes for us to exist in that space. And so for me, this is what makes the world go round, is that creative compassion that starts here and we extend it out in the world. And don't we all need more of that right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what a great note to wrap up with. And again, this is Beth Shaha at thegroundedcanary.com. And I'd say tune in to the Her Journey channel, because we're going to bring you more tools and tips like this. And they're, like I said, they're just fun, easy things you can incorporate into every day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Sandy.